What's up? It's another episode of My Brain, My Heart, Sports Talk with Mike. The first round of the NFL Draft is complete. Some surprises, not really a lot of surprises. I mean, mostly EJ Manuel going 16th overall and Manti Te'o and Geno Smith not even getting drafted in the first round. So not major surprises. Manuel might be major, but most of it went according to plan. I mean, my picks actually didn't have any pick right. So, I mean, for today, let's see. Luke Joker going first. He went second. Dion Jordan went third. Starr went 14th. And Sharif Floyd went 23rd. And Eric Fish went first. So that's my first 5 picks. D. Milliner went 9th. Lane Johnson went 4th. Geno Smith wasn't even taken. Jonathan Cooper went 7th. Barkevius Mingo went 6th. Ezekiel went 5th. Kenny Varco went 15th. Tavon Austin went 8th. Tyler Eifert went 21st. Sheldon Richardson went 13th. Sylvester Williams I had tagged at 16th. Went 28th to my Denver Broncos. Hunt wasn't taken. DeAndre Hopkins went 27th. Jonathan Cypher wasn't taken. How wasn't Cypher taken? Don't get it. Eric Reed went 18th. Jarvis Jones went 17th. Cordarrelle Patterson went 29th. DJ Flucker went 11th. Quentin Patton wasn't taken. EJ Manuel went 16th. I had him in the first round, but Cornelius Carradine wasn't taken. DJ Hayden went 12th. Manti Te'o wasn't taken. Bajon Werner went 24th. Xavier Rhodes went 25th. Datone Jones went 26th, and Keenan Allen wasn't even taken. So that's a hard thing with the NFL draft, is that especially this year, there's no clear cut for anything. A lot of teams had a lot of needs, so it was really hard to really fit players. I mean, as it went along, it was easier. You were like, oh, okay, you knew you're going to take him. Some players dropped a lot further than I thought. A lot further than anyone thought, really. So, with the first round done, I'm just waiting for the second round to kick in, like I said. Today's episode, I'm going to talk about the pressure of being a first overall draft pick, as well as there's a lot of debate on who's going to get go first overall in the NHL draft. So I mean, here's some first overall busts in sports. Kwame Brown, Michael Olowokandi, and Greg Oden in the NBA. Patrick Stephon, Alexander Daigle, they were busts. I would actually might even consider Eric Johnson of the Colorado Avalanche not as a bust, but not anywhere as close as what he was supposed to be. And I actually consider Rick DiPietro a bust in the NHL. As well as Brian Berard for the Islanders. In the NFL, Jamarcus Russell, Tim Couch, and David Carr. In the MLB, Luke Hochover, Matt Bush, Delman Young, and Brian Bullington. But that's the thing with going first overall. Even though they're clear cut, it could be so obvious that this guy's going to go first overall. I mean, Sidney Crosby, of course he was going to get drafted first overall. But the fact of the matter is you have no idea what they're going to do, how they're going to produce, if they're going to turn out to be better than you could have imagined, or are they're not even going to play a game in the NHL, or the NBA, or the MLB, or the NFL. You have no idea, and it's so difficult to predict that. I mean, that's why they go through such a lengthy process. They go through mental tests, physical tests. They test everything possible to try and come up with a prediction, to come up with an end result, to see what this player is going to be, if they're going to turn into a star, an average player, or just some that's not going to make a splash anywhere. And that's the hard thing. That's the hard thing for the teams. Imagine being that player, that person that's drafted first overall ahead of all these other athletes. You're first overall. You have, from the beginning, pressure. You have the pressure to not only produce, but to bring a championship, to create this team into a dynasty, to make this team a whole lot better on one kid's shoulders. These are young guys, like 24 and younger. I mean, in the NHL, these guys are 18. The NBA, they're about 20, 21. NFL is about 22 to 25. And the MLB, it's around the same as the NBA. It's just, these are young guys that need to take the whole organization in their hands and create just a masterpiece. And that's what they're expected to do. So, I mean, I can understand why some of them fold under the pressure. I really do. Because it's, I mean, you're looked at as an athlete, but you're still a human being. So to have all that, I mean, that's, imagine being father of 10 children and you just lose your job. So everything's on you to get another job to provide for your family. Well, this is what an athlete's got to do. You got to provide for your family, which is the team. You got to win games. That's it. And if you don't, then you suck apparently. But that's the thing. Some guys, their games just don't transition from college or the minors to the major leagues, and it's hard to really gauge that. And you hope that this player really just performs. I don't care if they turn into a star, as long as they do their job. And that's the thing. Like, they got to realize. Well, they probably already realize it. But if you don't, you're shunned upon. You're going to be looked at as that bust in that draft, or that guy that shouldn't have even been taken, and all in the first round. That's a lot to really think about, and that's going to really that's a heavy burden that these players are giving. I don't even think I'd be able to handle it. There's as much as I'd want that chance to handle it, I don't know if I'd want to, because it breaks you down mentally and physically. Because, well, I mean, the ones that really truly love the game, physically, when they go out there, they don't give 100%, they give 150%. And the guys that barely show out, they're the ones that are conceited. They think they don't need to play harder. I mean, Ryan Leaf. So it's hard, I mean, because they're drafted first overall for a reason, because the team in particular seen something in them. And it's not just inside, it's just their game. Whether it be Alexander Daigle, who just was a phenom scoring, it's hard. You have no idea, and it's just you gamble, and that's what a lot of these picks are. They're just a complete gamble. No matter what people say, you have no idea what's going to happen, whether it be injuries or they don't. Nothing translates. Their amazing game in the college league or minor leagues, it doesn't, or sorry, in the juniors for hockey, it just does not translate into success in the major leagues. That's my piece on pressure of being drafted first overall. Now, the whole discussion with Seth Jones, Nathan MacKinnon, and Jonathan Drouin. Personally, on a personal level, being a Colorado Avalanche fan, I want the Avalanche to draft my hometown kid, Nathan MacKinnon. Why would I not? It's a simple thing where you grow up, you want to be a hockey player, but when you're a fan of something, to have someone from your hometown to get drafted on that team and be a star on that team, it almost makes you feel like you're the one on that team doing the exact same thing. Now, it's hard for me to say it, but the player with the most talent in this NHL draft is Seth Jones. He offers a lot to a team. And the thing that I believe he offers the most is the fact that his weaknesses, if any, are very small weaknesses that you can't even find unless you dig and you dig and you dig. He has so much talent offensively and defensively. I think he has probably in the second highest hockey IQ in the NHL draft behind Jonathan Drouin. I mean, I see Drouin growing constantly. He got his start in Colorado. His father, Popeye Jones, asked Joe Sakic what he needs to do to get his sons into hockey. Joe Sakic told him to put his sons in figure skating and get his skating down. So you watch Seth Jones skate. He's an amazing skater. He's strong. He has a lot of poise, a lot of balance, incredible shot, superb vision. He rarely makes mistakes. And when his teammates makes mistakes, he's right there to correct them for his teammates. So he's all over, and he offers a lot. He produces. He comes to play every single night. Nathan MacKinnon, he does a lot. He's a fast skater. He's got a quick first step. He's hard to knock off the puck. He's determined. But at the same time, when I watch some of his games, I don't see it 100%, like him giving it 100%. I see Seth Jones just non-stop. Nathan MacKinnon, sometimes he takes a seat back. He's not always going at it hard. And sometimes that actually works for a player's advantage. You don't always need 100%. But then I worry, will it when he does make it to the NHL, and especially on the Colorado Avalanche, if he was on there, is he going to just coast a bit? Sometimes. I'm not saying he does it all the time, but there are times when you can definitely tell he's coasting and just not as excited. Sometimes I don't even see the love of the game. Like, I mean, you see him get excited sometimes, obviously, like he does, but when Jonathan Drouin scores a goal, you see how happy this guy is. And Nathan MacKinnon, not as much. Maybe that's composure. Maybe it's out of respect for the other team. I don't know. But there's nothing wrong with Nathan MacKinnon. It's just, there's maybe his only weakness is I don't see him show as much emotion as I would like him to see, or as much as for him to show that's what I want from him. Maybe I'm asking too much. But when I compare Seth Jones and Nathan MacKinnon, it's not who's a better player all around. It's just what I think that player can bring to the team as a whole. And it's got to be Seth Jones. Because Nathan MacKinnon, he does have Jonathan Drouin. I don't have MacKinnon higher than Drouin, but I don't have Drouin higher than MacKinnon. And the reason being is all three, they offer different games, as my brother Matt that's a quote from him. All have 3 different games. But Drouin, I don't know who said this. I don't know if it was him or if I just heard an analyst say it, that MacKinnon is a difference maker, that he makes his teammates better. Whereas I believe Jonathan Drouin is the one that makes his teammates better. When MacKinnon was injured, Jonathan Drouin stepped his game up. Statistically, you can see that. His teammates were more involved. With Nathan MacKinnon, I find that he's not thinking of himself first. But he's always got his team first, but at the same time, he wants to make the play, which in the end causes a turnover. In the playoffs, I've actually seen more of that from Jonathan Drouin. Maybe he's trying a bit harder than he needs to, because what he's doing with all these dangles, it's not going to work in the NHL to lay your ass out. But Drouin, he's just as much of a difference maker as MacKinnon, as well as clutch. Whereas, I mean, Seth Jones, he's playing with the Portland Winterhawks. They got guys like Ty Ratty, Brennan Lespick, and Nicholas Batin. He has that talent, guys that can score, obviously. But I found watching Seth Jones, if kind of like where I've seen Drouin, if one of those 3 was injured, Seth Jones can carry the team just like Jonathan Drouin. Nathan MacKinnon, he can carry a team, but I'm just waiting for him to grow, to evolve to that point, and that's why I have Seth Jones ahead of him. It's because I can't put Nathan MacKinnon above Jonathan Drouin, and that's why I have Seth Jones first overall. And that's why I don't want Colorado having the first overall pick. Now, the Florida Panthers, if they get the first overall pick, they need Nathan MacKinnon. That's their need. They need a centerman with lots of speed, lots of offensive talent that really can do wonders with Jonathan Huberdeau. But if they're going to go for the best player available in this draft, they got to go with Seth Jones, and that's what I'm hoping. Because second overall, I would go with Nathan MacKinnon for the Colorado Avalanche. If the Colorado Avalanche had the 3rd overall pick and to select Jonathan Drouin, I wouldn't hate that at all. It's a fine line between who's better in the juniors, because the QMJHL, I think, is an easier league than the WHL. But then the WHL is an easier league than the OHL. So it's hard to really factor in all that. And I kind of look at it as, if you put Nathan MacKinnon and Jonathan Drouin in the WHL or the OHL, do they still produce as they have for the Halifax Mooseheads? That's a question that people really need to ask themselves. If you put Seth Jones in the QMJL, I think he dominates. In the OHL, I think he still performs, not as much as he did in the WHL, but I still think he's quite good. But in the QMJHL, he destroys. I think he's the top defenseman by far. And if you put MacKinnon and Drouin in the WHL, I think physically their game will step down, and I think their point production will go down, more injuries. In the OHL, I think they need to translate defensively, and I think MacKinnon is a better defensive forward than Drouin, but that's the thing, the QMJL, it's different. And they're different leagues. I see Seth Jones being a better defenseman than any other defenseman drafted in the last 10 years in the first 10 picks, in the first 5 picks actually. He's better than what Erik Johnson is in, but then it's all on heart. It's all on what you actually believe. I think all three players will make a difference for any team that drafts them. I want Nathan MacKinnon for the Colorado Avalanche. I want them to have the second overall pick, and I'm praying Seth Jones gets drafted first overall. If Seth Jones is not and Nathan MacKinnon is drafted first overall, I have no problem with that. I have no beef, because Seth Jones, he's not a consolation prize. He is a prize in his own. But that's it for today's episode of My Brain, My Heart Sports Talk with Mike. Tomorrow's episode, I'm actually going to be talking about the bust for each NHL team since 2000 in the first round. It's going to be a great episode. Hope you enjoy your day.